Hello there. So I don't know if you have watched my previous video, a chat that I did with Pam Gregory, where we talk about the mermaid energy and we talk about water and we talk about the comet, Phoenix comet. The video is up on her channel. So I know a lot of you have watched it over on her channel, and then about a week later, I've recently uploaded it to my channel. So when Pam suggested we get together and talk about this subject, I went through the two channeled pieces, the Phoenix Comet Imbolc Lammas transmission, and also the Return of the Mermaid transmission. And I just took some key points from both of those transmissions to ask the nine if they could speak a bit further on what these metaphors, these flame letters that they use, mean. And I made lots of notes and asked the nine to comment further. And I talk about this in the video with Pam. But we didn't get through all the information. We didn't get through everything that I'd taken notes of, and the questions I'd asked to the nine to clarify further on these metaphors. Obviously, we only had an hour to talk, so I wanted to make a follow-up video and look at the rest of the information. So that's what I'm going to do in this video. I may or may not be able to get through everything in this video. I might need to make a second video, but I'm going to do my best. I might get through this quite quickly, just see how we go. So I'm going to turn now to the notes that I've made and go through them. So one of the things that the nine said was in one of the transmissions, the Return of the Mermaid transmission, from all things mu, spelt M-U, mu. So I asked them to clarify what is meant by from all things mu. If you haven't seen these transmissions, by the way, I would watch those first. So that's Return of the Mermaid, which is on my channel, the Phoenix, Comet, Imbolc, Lammas transmission is on my channel, and then the interview between myself, or the chat between myself and Pam Gregory, which is on her channel and on my channel. So I'd watch those first before you listen to this video. What is meant by from all things mu? And the nine replied, collective memories from the time of Lemuria, known and rising simultaneously within the Aurora network. So what that means is when they use the term from all things mu, they're talking about memories that everyone who has been at some point connected to or incarnated within the Lemurian reality, or as a incarnated individual has accessed some kind of soul memory from Lemuria. Anyone who's activated within the Aurora network, I explain what that is in the chat that I do with Pam. Anyone within the Aurora network will have memories of Lemuria, whether they are collectively holding those memories, as in memory mapping, whether they have taken memories from multiple different other individuals' incarnations from the morphogenetic field, or whether they themselves, as an individualized soul, has lived a life in Lemuria. They will all have come in with Lemurian memory because it's so significant for where we are going. So they also said of the waters. So I'm just going to see if I can find that particular paragraph where they say of the waters. That's it. From all things mu, of the waters, children of Neptune, and the travelers of the great grand cosmic Merkaba through Aurora portals, called to your planet as open doorways for the birth of multiple new sub-logos group soul archetypes, Alyssa, Soraya, and Seraphim, angelic myrrh that traverse the waters of space and hold space within your waters. So I discuss all of this in the chat with Pam, but there are a couple of things that I didn't get to. So of the waters, what did you mean by saying of the waters? And the nine reply, As we have said, children of the waters, at one with the water molecule, the Piscean and Aquarian frequencies, and the fifth dimensional Merkaba, and all that it creates within its spin. So this has been touched upon in the chat with Pam, but if you've seen that, I'm just embellishing really here on these extra things that the nine have said. So children of the waters, at one with the water molecule. So that's the Aurora network, the awakened starseeds. They are children of the waters, at one with the water molecule. You are at one with this water molecule that they're talking about, which are Piscean and Aquarian frequencies. So they're talking here about astrology, the astrology sign Pisces, the astrology sign Aquarius. But even if you aren't born under that sun sign, or if you don't have any planets in that sign, they're saying that all the Aurora network are at one with the water molecule and hold the Piscean and Aquarian frequencies, regardless of whether they've come in your astrological chart or where else. Likely they have. Likely you have got at least a planet in one or the other. But they're saying here specifically that all the Aurora network are of this, the Piscean and Aquarian frequencies being planetary and the time that we are in. And the fifth dimensional Merkaba and all that it creates with its spin. So the fifth dimensional Merkaba being the individual Merkaba that you raise individually as you go through ascension from the third dimension to the fifth dimension. That is the geometric presentation of the light body, and also the collective fifth dimensional Merkaba, which is that which is created by all the awakened individuals as one. And all that it creates with its spin, well, what it creates with its spin is charge. And I've spoken many times before about quantum convergence charge, blue starfire, being needed for the ascension process and to hold memory through the ascension process, alive, living within the body, within incarnation. But also, if you leave the physical body and go through the death process, you would want to hold on to those memories in order to individualize and still go through the same raise in frequency as ascension, even if you're not in body in that moment, or reincarnate back in before planetary end times, if you have the free flowing energy to be able to do so, and go through ascension as a new baby or a child in another life, whatever the choice is for you as an individual soul, the spin of the Merkaba is the charge that I'm talking about. And in the chat with Pam, we talk about the charge within the sea, within salt water. So this is the first time I've realized that blue starfire, quantum convergence charge, the spin of the Merkaba, the spin of the DNA that you need for ascension, for Stargate ascension specifically, well, this is clearly connected to salt water and the salts, not just the salt waters within the ocean, but the salts and the salt waters within the body. So that's the first time I've realized that the charge within salt is the blue starfire, and the quantum convergence charge is connected to that. And I didn't know that until very recently. And since we have moved through this new kind of gateway with the Comet and Imbolc or Lammas, depending on where you are in the world, and the whole return of the mermaid transmission that came forward, I've been speaking to a few people and certainly reading their posts on social media, especially on Telegram. Lots of people are being called by this energy. And I also feel the same way. And I have felt most of my life that I don't feel that I've been particularly a water person, even though not only am I sun sign Pisces, my birthday is March 5th, so I'm sun sign Pisces, but I have actually 4 planets in Pisces. When I had my astrological chart done years ago, I have 4 planets, including Venus. So love and romance and everything that goes with Venus. I have Venus and the sun and 2 other planets, I can't remember which, all in Pisces. But I still have never felt that I'm particularly a water person. I didn't learn to swim until I was 11. My father took me through hypnosis in order to help me to learn to swim, because I was just splashing around in armbands, water wings, at the age of 11 when all my friends were swimming. I didn't feel at home in the water. I almost felt a little bit afraid of the water. And whilst I'm not averse to water and I do like going swimming, I've never been one to stand and stare at the sea or want to go out on a boat or, really. When I was a child, I did love to splash and paddle in the sea, and I loved to build sandcastles like every other child. I love fish, I don't mean to eat. I don't eat fish, but I mean to look at and to connect with. But I've never really felt called by the sea and sea life particularly. In fact, I've had memories that I haven't really integrated that are a little bit like I'm afraid of the sea. And I do feel that perhaps there was a drowning experience or an almost drowning experience in past life. I do remember water planets that are literally just water. There's no land on these planets and you just live under the water. And I remember lifetimes there, and I haven't really integrated that, but there was certain things that I don't feel I want to bring forward into my memory yet. So water, I've never really thought it's me until literally this February gateway that has been calling this oceanic mermaid energy. And I now feel that around me. I now feel that I do feel at one with the water. I do feel called by the sea. And suddenly I've been drawn to watching all these mermaid programs and mermaid films and looking at pictures of mermaids and fish, and become really connected to the aquamarine colors and blues. And yeah, so I'm personally being called, and from what I'm reading on, especially on Telegram, this is happening to others as well. So there is a water awareness, as I spoke about with Pam, due to this planetary movement, the sign of Neptune being very strong energetically with us right now, and everything that entails, the memory of the mermaid, the mer being the mermaid, and the Merkaba. It's where we've come from, it's where we're going again, the old and the new, the past and the future coming together, Lemuria, Atlantis, all connecting together. So that's a big energy at the moment, and I feel that it is still there right now. So what did you mean by saying of the waters? As we have said, children of the waters, at one with the water molecule, the Piscean and Aquarian frequencies, and the fifth dimensional Merkaba and all that it creates with its spin. So that charge, that quantum convergence charge, blue starfire, is clearly connected to this charge within the seas and within the body. It's the same thing. The salts within the DNA. There's an ocean within us, as well as the ocean on the land. We're at one with this. This is basically what the 9 are saying here. So they spoke about Alyssa, Soraya, and Seraphim, the angelic Mer. So I asked them, who are Alyssa, Soraya, and Seraphim, the angelic Mer? And they replied, flame letter angelic codices for new birthing of sub-logos group souls as daughters of the flame, daughters of Queen Sophia, or daughters, sisters to the beloved Princess Aurora, created through critical mass awareness by domain. Now, I did speak to Pam in our chat, and I felt that Alyssa and Salacia, which I don't know much about, but Pam was talking about Salacia, the Salacia energy. I feel that the similarity with Salacia and Alyssa, the sound is so similar. I truly feel it's the same energy. So I see this as a sub-logos, as in an angelic presentation, but this is consciousness, the structure of consciousness within celestial bodies is the same thing. So flame letter angelic codices. We know what flame letter is. This is the alphabet, cosmic alphabet of the cosmic alphabet of multiple different image and frequency within that image, artistic presentation, symbol that is known by all humanity, lying dormant when humanity is asleep. Once that individual is activated into spiritual awareness, this alphabet within the DNA, the quantum DNA, starts to activate, and they are drawn to these symbols, which include the mermaid, it includes the dragon, Excalibur, the unicorn. There are multiple of these that have become flame letter codes, and the memory of the flame letter comes up through activation, and the flame letter acts as a code for activation. So they're one and the same. So mermaid, or a human that is also an aquatic life, that symbol, merman, mermaid, that is very much a symbol. The underwater individual, like the film Avatar: The Way of Water, when they go under the water and are swimming with the sea life, it's very triggering for memory, for that DNA flame letter memory, deep knowing from Lemuria, from other times, from the times when all humanity, DNA itself, has seeded from the waters, for we would have come from the waters onto the land in all different planetary systems or any evolutionary path, and also coming down from the etheric realms into matter, would have passed through a water plasma type substance before becoming more solid and human, as I discussed with Pam. So that's the flame letter, is this library of symbols, and there are many, many of them. Angelic codices. So these are codes that are angel codes, angelic as in of the divine, of the angel, angelic, celestial, above the heaven realms. Angelic being the aspect of self that is ascended, that holds wings, that can fly, the aspect of self that is non-physical, that is of source, the aspect of self that holds memory of all things, the omnipresent self. Angelic codices, flame letter, the cosmic library, angelic, the higher self, the source aspect, codices within all of that. That's who Alyssa, Soraya, and Seraphim are, as the angelic mer. For new birthing of. So this is flame letter. We have a cosmic library. We have the angelic, the source, the wings, all discussed in my new book, which I have here, the Diamond Codex and the Quartz Key. So all about the wings and what happens when one takes flight with the wings and calls the wings, the wing making. All of that is in that book and explains it. Flame letter, angelic codices for new birthing. So there is new birthing. So we have the cosmic library from before, from the past, from that which we have always held right up to source. But here in this reality, the reality we're moving forward in linear time, new birthing of sub-logos group souls. So we have new creations. And the reason for this is, as the awareness grows within the Aurora network, the awakened starseeds, the spiritually aware starseeds, as awareness grows within them, they create higher consciousness. So higher consciousness is there as an aspect of us, and is the true us. But when we're here in incarnation, we can create that as a memory within us, as a calling to the higher self to come back down and embody through us. But also we can create new group soul structures. So if you do read the new book, you'll read about the character Aurora. So Aurora is a group soul, and that is explained through the transmission, the channeling from the 9, and also it's explained in prose, poetry, story. It's explained in multiple ways so that you understand and you can merge with the consciousness of Aurora and what Aurora represents. So we now have these new birthings, these new group souls, Alyssa, Soraya, and Seraphim, as daughters of the flame. Well, daughters of the flame are the daughters, so the flame being the eternal flame, which is the morphogenetic field, the dragon's breath, that is the memory, the structure of memory of all and everything, everything that has happened, everything that is happening now, everything that will ever happen, within multiple quantum timelines. So it's all and everything across time, as a field that one can draw from and add to. So that flame, that eternal flame, when manifested in feminine form, and there are multiple different names that can be given to that feminine form, multiple different goddesses over time, but the feminine form that the 9 show to me and present to me as the representative of that morphogenetic field, that memory system within antimatter, is Queen Sophia. So what Queen Sophia would be is the group soul aspect, that the higher consciousness of all humanity. Whereas Princess Aurora, her daughter, and she is the flame, so Princess Aurora is a daughter of the flame, that would be the higher self-consciousness of all awakened humanity. Well, we now have these 3 new ones, Alyssa, Soraya, and Seraphim. So these are daughters of the flame as well. So presumably a sister to Princess Aurora, as in more awakening, and not just more awakening, but more creations and awareness, more memory coming from the awakened ones. What they go on to say is, as daughters of the flame, daughters of Queen Sophia, or daughters, sisters to the beloved Princess Aurora. So they could be Aurora's daughters. And if you read the book, the Diamond Codex and the Quartz Key, this is all explained in there, especially if you read the chapter, The Hand Fasting, and what's actually happening in a fractal sense with Aurora as sister, daughter, daughter of the flame, fractal reproduction of self over and over and over and over. That's all explained in activation form in that book. So look for the chapter, The Hand Fasting. This will explain what I'm talking about. So Queen Sophia and daughters, sisters to the beloved Princess Aurora, created through critical mass awareness by domain. Now, domain is kind of like country, or in America, possibly state, but it isn't really country or state. Domain is a structured placement. The boundary of that may not be the same as a country or a state, or as a union of area, village, town, whatever word you want to give it. Domain would be similar to country, let's say. So let's say the French domain would be France, the English domain would be the United Kingdom, the American domain would be the US and all the states within it. But it doesn't have to be. It can be slightly different. Domain isn't exactly the same as country, but for ease of explanation, it's good to think of it that way. So what they're actually saying is, created through critical mass awareness by domain, meaning, let's use country as the explanation. So there's a critical mass awareness, say in Canada, a critical mass awareness in France, a critical mass awareness in the United Kingdom, a critical mass awareness in Wales, in Scotland, in Missouri, in New York. Every domain, the awakened individuals within each structure are creating new group souls. They've mentioned 3, Alyssa, Soraya, and Seraphim. That's the name the 9 give them. But what I'm feeling is that Alyssa is Celestia, which is celestial. So we're having new awareness of celestial structures, of the celestial structure being the sub-logos group soul by domain, as well as within the oneness. So this is the creation that is occurring in antimatter realm level amongst awakened individuals by domain as well as one. And domain can also mean system and structure as a containment. So for example, I have a community on Telegram online. That's a domain. There could be people in there from Spain, America, the United Kingdom, wherever. But the domain is the Telegram structure, a telepathic union within the group. I have a group over on MeWe. That is another domain. And there are other spiritual teachers who have websites with followers or people that subscribe to that website or communities. They would be classed as domains if they are cohesive. There needs to be cohesion coming from the spiritual teacher to create such domain. Otherwise, it won't be a domain. It's just a scattered group with no structure to it. That happens as well. So domain isn't just country. I just wanted to kind of add that in. And within that, when it's cohesive, then there is a group soul aspect, a sub-logos being created by the coming together of that awakened group of individuals, that awakened community, the community as a whole across the planet, humanity itself across the planet. But as they awaken, they're creating these new sub-logos, angelic mer that are also celestial bodies, as in Alyssa being Celestia. Okay, so that's that piece. I then asked them, what was meant by you saying that they traverse the waters of space and hold space within your waters? So this was discussed in the chat with Pam. We did cover an awful lot, and I kind of skimmed through the notes, but I wanted to carry on with all these pieces that I didn't get to. So what was meant by you saying that they traverse the waters of space and hold space within your waters? And they replied, it is that as we have spake. I do say spake rather than spoken or speak. I believe that that's because it's ancient language and there's code within ancient language and more focus with it. It is that as we have spake. The knowings of waters in space and space within waters as mirror image, matter, antimatter, as above, so below. So what is meant by you saying that they traverse the waters of space and hold space within your waters? They're saying it's as we're saying. They are traversing the waters of space. These awakened souls, this aurora network and the sub-logos group souls within the mind, within the consciousness, within the dream time travel, within the awareness. They traverse the waters of space and they hold space within your waters. So they're holding space within the waters of Earth or within the waters within. It is that we have said. That's what we're saying. It's clear they're saying the knowings of waters in space. So being aware that there is water in space, being aware that there's space within water. So I feel that what that also means is when you're looking at space and you're looking at perhaps this dark energy or you're looking at dark matter, the 0 point molecule, if you will, that's in the water, as in it's everywhere. So the fabric of space is in the ocean, in the water, and in the waters within our bodies. And water is in our bodies and in space. And that's why they're saying as mirror image. So what's in the water is what's up there in space, and what's up there in space is in the water. Mirror image, just flipped over. Matter, antimatter, as above, so below. So as above, so below doesn't just mean the way we live our lives here is akin to the higher realms. It's actual physical structure there is antimatter inside the matter and matter inside the antimatter, as they're two sides of the same coin flipped. So it can be found everywhere. This matter antimatter flip can be found everywhere. That's what they mean when they say they traverse the waters of space and hold space within the waters. And it's the awakened individuals who are aware of this that are holding all of this. Their consciousness is at one with all of this. So I was wondering, I mean, when they're talking about matter, antimatter, as above, so below, and I'm thinking, well, space within waters, is this 0 point? Are they talking about 0 point? So I said to them, are you referring to free energy systems? So this is the bit we didn't get to, Pam and I. We didn't get to kind of talk about this too much. We went through a lot of the metaphors, the flame letters, and the astrology, but I didn't get to the bit where I'd asked them about the free energy. I mentioned it briefly, I think. Are you referring to free energy systems? And this is what the 9 said. Indeed, this is that which we refer to. We would suggest the term 0 point energy, or source field, or source emanation energy as more accurate terminology. Although indeed, this energetic is that which you could call free. So that is what they're referring to when they say that the Aurora network and the sub logos created by the Aurora network traverse the waters of space and hold space within the waters. They're doing this with their consciousness. And this is the antimatter matter flip, as above, so below. They are talking about 0 point energy. 0 point being in the waters within the body and on the planet, and the waters being within the 0 point, which is in the space. And it is the emanations from the mind consciousness of awakened humanity that are creating the intelligent structures that are holding all of this and drawing this into our awareness and our consciousness, for it to manifest in our timeline, for us to be able to utilize here while we're in incarnation. This is what's happening. So, you know, it's difficult when you say to someone, oh, I'm really attracted to mermaid energy. I'm drawn to the mermaid and Neptune and his trident and fish under the water. And I feel activated by that film, Avatar, The Way of Water. People who are not aware of the flame letter metaphors will just look at you and think you're crazy. It's just a bit of a nut. You just like mermaids or whatever. But no, this is creating this awareness of the understanding of the metaphor and the flame letter and the codes within it is creating the timeline where we have these things come into our reality. We have these energies, these new types of energies that I referred to as free energy. And they said we would suggest the term 0 point energy, source field energy, or source emanation energy is more accurate terminology. Well, 0 point energy, because it's energy that is generated by the 0 point. Source field energy, it's generated by the source field, the energy of source. Source emanation energy, it's generated by the emanations of source. And what is an emanation of source? Light and sunlight and the sun and the celestial bodies themselves and space, but very much the sun. The sun is a source emanation energy. The planets are source emanation energies. The movements of them are the reading of that source emanation energy, which is why astrology, someone who studies astrology, is so connected to the information that's being brought forward from the 9. So we're creating the awareness of this through our consciousness, because our consciousness is source emanation energy. Our consciousness is an emanation of source. Our consciousness, our heart, the higher heart, all of those energetic systems within our light body, as we awaken together and create all this, it's all the same thing. So we are doing this, we are manifesting this. People ask me all the time, you know, when are the med beds coming and similar healing technology? This is what will bring that into our reality. It won't be delivered as some kind of savior system via some controlled medical structure of the old Earth, it's coming into our reality as source emanation energy, as frequency healing. And it may not be manifest in the way that you think it will. And that is what we are creating. And it's not just about medical healing, it's about everything. Everything is going to be part of this energetic system. I spoke about this in one of the other videos that I've done, where I talk about the Star Trek future and the plasma and the jellyfish type of structure that creates all of this interlocking, futuristic, magical reality that appears to be AI, but it actually is not. What I think it is, rather than AI, is the solid plasmic manifestation of source emanation energy. It's actually the technology that comes from 0-point energy and source field energy, source emanation energy. But one can call it AI because some people might think that it is, but it's very, very different from the artificial intelligence that's marketed to be part of the other side of the bifurcation, the control structure by the overlords in the fictional novel, rather than the New Earth systems. So that's what this is, and it's all created by our consciousness, the awakened individuals, the Aurora network. So, although indeed this energetic is that which you call free, and the reason why it's free is you don't pay for this system. It's given to you within you and around you, and it comes into your reality. It's a free system because you can't patent it, you can't make money from it. It's as free as rainwater itself. And as we know, even that has been hijacked and changed instead of remaining whole. And so you have this bifurcation of the organic, the natural, and the future that takes us to, with organic technology within and the manifestation of that without, and then the artificial inversion that tries to emulate it, but it's complete nemesis, it's complete opposing presentation. Okay, so I went on to say, am I correct in my interpretation that you are saying awake, aware souls in New Earth will discover water in space and space in water and somehow create 0-point energy? That's what I asked them. And they said, we are saying that those with genius minds and compassionate hearts will discover what is already there and how to access it and put it to use. So I don't know what this is. That's not my path to be, a 0-point energy engineer or whatever. But my interpretation of what they're saying is awake, aware souls in New Earth will discover that there's water in space, there's space in water, and from the two, they'll somehow create 0-point energy. They replied by saying, those with genius minds and compassionate hearts will discover what is already there. So it's not like they create anything. They discover what's already there. It's already there. It doesn't need to be created. It's already there. And they will learn how to access it and put it to use. They didn't go on and embellish with this, but I feel that my question regarding water in space and space in water is some kind of key, maybe just part of the key. All I can do is bring forward the messages I get. But I do know that this is created, those with genius minds and compassionate hearts. Yes, we're looking at engineers and people who are working in the system, but the consciousness of the awake individuals within the Aurora network are creating this to come into manifestation within the timeline that they are on a trajectory for, as this comes into our reality with ascension of this reality. Okay, so I asked them, what did you mean when you said we were at a birth point for photonic light and plasma fields? And they replied, as you discover the truths of your layered reality, so too do you draw the photonic light emanations of antimatter and the plasma morphogenetic creations into your reality. As the photonic light emanations of antimatter and the plasma morphogenetic creations enter your reality, so too do you discover the truths of your layered reality. Okay, what did you mean when you said we were at a birth point for photonic light and plasma fields? What's that mean? A birth point for photonic light? Well, that's the light I've been talking about, and one of my recent videos talks about the plasma light, the Christ light. When I spoke about the dream healing with Amanda Ellis, that is the photonic light and the plasma fields. We're at a birth point for it. That's the first time I've seen that as an emanation from me and as a tool for healing. I've seen it once before in astral travel as a ceiling point, and I didn't move beyond it. But that's the second time I personally have seen it in my life, and the first time I've ever seen it as a healing tool, the Christ light. So we're at a birth point for this, and what I'm seeing in my reality is usually in line with where the collective is. The Nine have said since day one, you are moving with the collective. So everything I experience, that's the same experience that the awakened individuals within the Aurora network are going through. And all the videos that I do and the talking that I do to you is confirmation of your own experience. It isn't a teaching from someone who knows something that you don't. It is a confirmation of your own experience, because we're going through it together. The only difference is I'm sat talking about it on a video, which you can do as well if you want to. But a lot of people going through this, they don't want to do that. So I can understand why as well. Anyway, that's going off the point. So as you discover the truths of your layered reality, so we are discovering what is true about this layered reality. That reality isn't just this one mono thing. It's layered, it's multidimensional, it's quantum. As we discover more and more truths of our reality, so too do you draw the photonic light emanations. So we're drawing these photonic light emanations, like in my dream, of antimatter, because they're coming through from antimatter, from the etheric realms, from the heaven realms, from the non-physical realms, all the same thing. Photonic light emanations of antimatter and the plasma morphogenetic creations. So this is that which we create from our consciousness within our mind's eye, within our pineal gland, individually and collectively. As we see these things, we create structure. We actually create plasma that holds solidity to it and light. We create this from our consciousness. So as we're discovering the truths of our layered reality, we're drawing photonic light emanations. That's the emanation of the light from that photonic morphogenetic field within antimatter, and the plasma morphogenetic creations. So they are the solid plasma creations that form from our cohesive and coherent thought and emotional field as a structure. So not a thought that holds no structure, a thought that holds structure. So if I say to you as an awakened individual, think of a mermaid, and 14,000 people watch this video, all think of a mermaid when they watch it, and they're all cohesive, and they are coherent in their thought structure because they're awakened and hold sovereignty and structure. That mermaid takes on a plasma form, and that sits as the antimatter solid form before it comes down into physical reality. So that's the plasma morphogenetic creations. Then they flip that around and they say, as the photonic light emanations of antimatter. So that's the light emanating from antimatter from the heaven realms. This light that we're seeing, this light we're seeing with the pineal gland, like in my dream when I was doing the dream healing. As the photonic light emanations of antimatter and the plasma morphogenetic creations, so thinking of a mermaid, we all think, 14,000 of us or however many, think of a mermaid and create the plasma structure for it. The pre-matter, pre-incarnation, solid formed structure that's cohesive, that's given life, as they enter our reality, so too do you discover the truths of your layered reality. So it's we and we, it's us and us, it's all down to self. We're discovering the truths of our layered reality, but also the very things that we're drawing down by discovering those truths are what's occurring for us as a catalyst to be able to discover the truths. It's a two-way thing. And this shows complete unity and oneness with the morphogenetic field within every awakened human. Within every human, it's just lying dormant for those who aren't awake. But for those who are awake and on a spiritual path and are following this within their own reality, following their own guidance, it's a two-way. You're creating the morphogenetic field emanations, and they are a response to you, as in you create them, they create you. You are the creator and the created simultaneously. I'm going to leave that here because this is fairly deep analysis, and as anyone knows that does think in a multi-dimensional spiral way, like in my dream, when I was holding that white light, that's the dream healing, holding the Christ light, and it was so beautiful and amazing. And but I had to say afterwards, Amanda, can you hold this? Can you carry on? Can you take over from me? It's difficult for us to sustain multidimensional thought in linear time for a long time, especially if you are deeply analyzing within that multi-layered reality, looking into the quantum fields. So in order for me to impart to you the best possible interpretation of what the nine are saying here, I need to be fresh to the next lot of channeling, the next piece of the transmission, rather than feeling like I'm getting not tired, but like in that dream, I'm so blissed out with all this light. It's so white, it's so powerful, it's so amazing. When I just can't hold it any longer. Amanda, can you take over? And in my dream, I was talking to Amanda Ellis, another person who is doing similar work to me, and she came in and stepped in and took over. So that's why I'm stopping here, because I would like to come in fresh to the next few pieces of information from the nine, where I just ask them questions from the channelings and bring forward their answers, and then I'm sort of analysing them, which needs to take time to really do it justice. And obviously with my chat with Pam, we didn't obviously get through everything, and I didn't realise I'd asked so many questions, and that obviously the analysis of the responses from the nine takes time to do. So I'll be back with another video after this one to carry on. So thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye.